Hey VC, third and final installment of the German digs, and today we are in Nuremberg, Bavaria. I want to take you to three stores. The first one is called Vinilio. Small store, nice selection, nothing mind-blowing. I only bought the one record, the one that's on the turntable right now. I didn't have much time in there, and bearing in mind I was on a school exchange with kids, it's difficult to find a lot of time to dig. But across the road from Vinilio was a big store called Music and Books, which is more like a glorified thrift store. It's a really real digger's paradise. There's books and records and CDs, and you can dig and dig for hours. I came out of there with a nice pile of records under my arm. But you really had to bend down and search and find things. It was loosely organized into sort of styles of music, but without too much fuss about it. Yeah, I had a good time, and I found some really nice jazz records in there, notably. And then I moved on to a shop which was round the corner, not very far, called Monotone, which you'll see in a few seconds. And Monotone was a store that was really cool, stored mostly new records, new vinyl, reissues, and also new releases. And really I had a great time digging there. I didn't buy much in there, but I really enjoyed looking at at the racks, and they had some really good choice and good quality music in there, and books and CDs and all sorts of things. So in today's installments, I will show you some African, Middle Eastern, and sort of rock records that I found in Germany. This is the last installment. I hope you enjoy it, and I'm going to start now. So yes, African records, um, Oriental records, a little bit of pop rock, a little bit of avant-garde, and at the end I'll show you a couple of records that I picked up recently, not in Germany, and I hope you enjoy. So I wasn't going to Germany to find African records per se, but the shop in Kassel, Scheibenbeißer, which I showed you in the first video, had a nice African section, a couple of store turntables, which enabled me to spend a few hours in there and just really sample the merch, and come home with some nice records, make some informed decisions, if you will. This one was not very difficult a decision to make. Ali Farka Touré, I've already got some of his records. I love the man. He was a true genius of African music. Guitar player from Mali, exponent of this kind of African blues, very idiosyncratic style. Beautiful, beautiful songs. One of his first albums, very highly recommended. Not a hard choice to make. Same for the next album that I'm going to show you, which is the legendary Talking Timbuktu with Ry Cooder. And Ry Cooder is a wizard, really. He brings out the best in the people he works with. Think of Buena Vista Social Club, for example. And this is another album from the 90s, Talking Timbuktu, where he teams up with Ali Farka Touré and just produces a beautiful collection of blues, African blues songs. Doesn't detract at all from the genius of Ali, and it was a bit more expensive, but really worth getting, and I understand why this album is often listed as one of the best African records ever. Both of these are on the label World
circuit, as is the next record. What you've got there is obviously a kora player who also sings, and his name is Tali Musa Jawara. He's from Guinea, not from Mali. Guinea is really the country that's next to Mali and the most similar musically speaking. And the album is called Subindo. So if you like something like if you're into Tumani Diabate, well, this will satisfy you because it's really in the same vein, and it's just beautiful and lovely, and I mean, really, this is an exquisite record. And again, same could be said about the next record, which is also from Guinea. This is Sona Diabate. I was talking about Tumani Diabate before, but she's no relation to Tumani Diabate. I think her brother was the guitar player in the Bembaya jazz orchestra from Guinea. And she basically recorded this album I think in Germany. Hence I found it there. Very, very highly recommended. Kankeleti, which I don't know what it means. It probably says that on the back cover. Who even knows? Remain Light is, as you know, the amazing, extraordinary album by the Talking Heads, which is filled with African polyrhythms and African references. And with this, Angelique Kidjo, the singer from Benin in West Africa, she teams up with a bunch of guests, and they just cover the song, the album Song for Song, and I really quite like it. I think it's a very, very nicely done record. Now, okay, it's not Remain Light, and it's never going to be as brilliant as Remain Light, but it does something. It gets somewhere. She makes it her own record, and because it's such an African sounding record in the first place, it really works well. So I would recommend this to all of you. It's a nice cover album. This is Zakir Hussain on ECM with a bunch of other people, including John McLaughlin and Yanga Barak. This is called Making Music. This is basically a sort of a jazz fusion meets Indian classical music. It's got tabla and traditional Indian instruments mixed with your normal jazz setting. And whilst not mind-blowing, it's a very, very nice record. I think what I would say against it is the way it's mixed. For example, John McLaughlin's guitar is too high in the mix, in my opinion. It's so shiny and bright. Sometimes it sort of detracts from the brilliance of the other instruments, but you know, this is just me nitpicking, really. It's a nice record, and you know, I was in Germany, and ECMs are aplenty in Germany. This is Osam Ramzi, Baladi Plus. This is an Egyptian kind of belly dance music record. Really groovy, really funky, kind of, you know, you could put that in the background and it's just really bouncy, jumpy music, really. I was in a store where they were playing this on the speakers, and you know, I was sort of grooving to it, and I thought, oh well, let's just get it, you know, it's cool. Now for a modern Turkish record, this is Gaye Su Akiol, and the album is called Hologram, as you can see, or whatever the Turkish title happens to be. She is she mixes the Anatolian rock tradition of people like Selda and Erkin Koray and Boris Manko, and with a modern twist, modern sort of indie kind of twist, and really does a fantastic job. She has got 2 albums out. I think that was her first album, The hype sticker will say something. Okay, so as you can see, the hype sticker tells you a little bit of what you need to know about this girl, and not that it's necessarily right, but this just gives you an idea. Okay, this next record was a warm recommendation from my good friend Mike Keddy, Boston in Reggie, and we talk daily online, and we just post records and just chat about it. And he posted this record and it looked interesting. Then I realized it was Alison Staton from the Young Marble Giants, who formed a second band after the Young Marble Giants finished. And it's called Weekend. The band's called Weekend. And this band does a brand of post-punk that is similar to bands like Antenna. Post-punk infused with bossa nova. Also, you could put Everything But the Girl in that sort of bracket. Bossa nova and a bit of Caribbean music, Latin Caribbean music. So, yeah, you could say they were sort of a hybrid between post-punk, indie pop and bossa and Caribbean music. Really, really nice record. It was cheap. In Germany, you can find these quite easily, and it's a beautiful record. Very highly recommended. Thank you, Mike. I found this one in a thrift store in Kassel, and I left the price sticker on it. This was only €5, as you can see. Amazing. First Italian press of Matching Mole's Little Red Record. The band fronted by Robert Wyatt. It's not as good as the other Matching Mole's record. That's what I would say for it. The one with the mole on it on the front cover, but it's still a nice record. And for €5. This is an absolutely fantastic record. It's a masterpiece. In fact, approximately Infinite Universe by Yoko Ono. I thought Fly was the best record until I heard this one. I mean, they're probably on the par. Fly is really good. Fly is like it's like Yoko Ono doing Can or something. And this is more like Yoko Ono doing Pink Floyd or something. I don't know. I don't take my word for it. It's a really, really great record. Really easy to listen to. It's not offensive at all, and it's really engaging. I very, very highly recommend. This is the first press. Another ECM release that was on my radar, and that is the opposite of Yoko Ono. Not very easy to listen to. You have to be in the mood. This is experimental minimal music, Meredith Monk with Dolman music. This is basically experiments with voice and piano. You can follow in the same box as Steve Reich or Philip Glass, but I think that Steve Reich and Philip Glass are infinitely more palatable than this. Approach with some caution. You've got to be into that kind of music, and you've got to be in the right mood. That's very important. You can't put this on anytime. It demands a form of attention. It's a bit like listening to Trad Mass Replica, for example. Now, as a bonus, a couple of records that I bought recently that were recommended to me as well. This one was recommended to me by my other good friend. I was talking about Mike just before, and you can put Tony in there as well. Tony Amuro, Mr. Fatboy 79, as he used to be called, and he put me onto this Black Flower LP, Future Flora. These guys are a neo-ethio jazz band from Belgium, I think, and this is, I think, their first record. This is superb, really, really great. If you're into the ethio jazz sound, this is ethio jazz mixed with a little bit of maybe bad, not good, perhaps, if you can get the reference. It's got this kind of like hip hop beats kind of mixture. with the Ethiopian jazz. Thank you, Tony. This is a great record. Very much appreciate. And this one here was a recommendation from my good friend Jack Zondag, Jack Sunday on Instagram, who I visited in Paris at the start of the year, and he recommended this record to me, so I listened to it and I bought it. It's Suru, fantastic Japanese records, sort of jazz funk, but done the Japanese way. Very, very groovy records. Very happy to add that to my collection. It's a release from 2018, I think. So, and finally, I don't know if YouTube's gonna bar me for this because it's a little bit too sexy for YouTube, but this is a reissue of Kassav's debut, I think debut single. It's called Love and Cadence. Kassav were from Guadeloupe, I think, from the island of Guadeloupe, which is a French island basically in the Caribbean. And this is just, I mean, from the cover to this, I mean, this is really, really, really good. I mean, I very highly recommend this to everyone. This is funky. This is just such a groovy record. Like, you can just crank this up. It's brilliant. It was recently reissued, I think, for Record Store Day by Heavenly Sweetness or some other Parisian label. This is not the Record Store Day edition though, it's just a plain normal one. It's a double LP. Beautiful. And if YouTube bars me for this, then you really need to get a life, people. Anyway, that is all. Enjoy. Thank you.